are. Very nice. Tanya, are you giving me the green light or shall I just take it?
You know, always take it.
Take it. One of the best advice that I give my founders and entrepreneurs is take up your seat, right? You deserve to be in the seat. You deserve to be in the founder's seat, the entrepreneur's seat, the operational seat, the product seat. And so many of the people I coach, they have imposter syndrome. And one of the things I say is just take up the seat. The seat has your name on it. Whatever it is that you're currently doing, it has your name on it, right? So I'm going to take my seat as being with you today. So I want to welcome all of you to this coaching program. You know, Tanya, her amazing team, and myself, we've spent the last few weeks pulling together this program for you. I've reached out to amazing professionals, world-class advisors, business leaders, coaches that have been doing this for generations. I was going to say generations, decades. Feels like generations. We've gone through a few, it feels, in the last couple. And, you know, they have all agreed to say yes. So I feel it's a tremendous privilege to bring all of these people to you. I'm honored to see all of you and all your faces today. You know, I know how busy you are. I know what you're going through, and I fully respect your time and your commitment for being here. You know, I can't do this program without saying that I'm heartbroken and sorry about what is happening in Ukraine. I don't have any words for it. I'm not going to pretend to understand it. The only little and small thing that I can do and contribute is what we've pulled together here for you. Totally pro bono. Everyone's doing this, you know, out of the goodness of their heart. You know, one of the things that I will say is some of the people that are going to show up in the next few weeks are people that fill 10, 12, 15,000 stadiums. Joseph McClendon, who's speaking next week, is probably one of the most booked top performance, you know, experts in the industry. And he's going to be speaking to, you know, 50, 100 of you. So an immense privilege. We've got experts in goal setting, in lean startup methodology, in how to be paid as a startup using cryptocurrencies. There's an amazing lineup of people. So my only hope and, you know, request from you is to commit to the program, show up as best as you can to each and every one of these, because these people, I think I counted out of 14 coaches, there's 12 different nationalities that are, you know, people are pulling in from Asia, South Africa, all over the US. So that's my only request from you. It's like, show up, what you commit to and the amount of work that you put into this, you will absolutely get back no matter what. So that's my promise to you, right? My promise is not that we are going to know and solve every business issue that you're facing, every personal issue that you're facing, but our promise is absolutely to load you up with more tools than most people are ever going to be exposed to in their lifetime in a series of 12 weeks, which is a absolutely magical sort of gift. And, you know, it's our small contribution to the country and to all of you as business leaders. You guys have the opportunity to be examples. And as much as you are hearing this, my invitation is also to pass this on to as many people as possible, personally and within your teams. In terms of just, you know, the way it's going to work, each of us is going to share about 60 minutes of content. And then we're going to open it up for questions. I'm happy to stay for as long as you need. We'll ask questions, you know, type it into the chat, or if you want to actually speak up, I'll absolutely call on you guys as well. So that's pretty much it. I know Tanya has also organized a Slack channel so that we can actually keep up with each other sort of week to week. You're going to see there's a supportive community that's going to grow from this. You think you might be here to listen to me today, but sometimes the reason we do things are not the reason that we do things. You might meet someone, you might hire someone might fund you, someone might help you, you might date someone that's in this group. You have no idea. So the amazing thing is A, that you've shown up, and B, my hope is that you're just open to the possibility of everything and anything that can come through. So back to us for today. So I am, I haven't even introduced myself. My name is Ariane de Bonvoisin, one of the creators of the program. I'm speaking to you from Switzerland. I have an interesting accent, which you might be trying to figure out. So let me just take care of that immediately. My parents are French and Belgian, and I was born in New York, and I grew up in 6 different countries. So the accent is impossible to peg on any particular country. I had mainly English education, but a little bit in French and German too. And just to top it off, I married a South African. So I have, the South African accent every so often comes in too. But yeah, we've been living in Switzerland since the pandemic. We used to live in New York, so we've been here for 2 years. I have an 8-year-old son called Everest, like the mountain, although he thinks his name is Neverest. Since he was born, that's what he truly believes, that's why we named him. And we also have a dog called Waffle, who's a golden retriever, who has been a wonderful addition to the family too. So our plan together for the next 50 minutes, let's say, is I am going to lead a session with you on the 9 principles of change. So I've shared this similar type of workshop, right? I've adapted it, of course, to the audiences that I've spoken to at Amazon, at Twitter, at Google, at the World Bank, at the Oprah conference. So I am incredibly lucky to be able to share this with you. This is certainly a very different type of environment. I never thought this, would be an environment I would be speaking to. So I'm always open to where life takes me on this journey. So I'm going to share with you some insights that I've discovered from about a decade of research and work on how to make change easier. Why it is that some of you are good at change and some of you are having a hard time with it. Why some of your companies are good at change and pivoting, and why some companies have a really hard time with change. Why some of you initiate a change, some of you don't. Why some of you are better facing a change, and some of you don't. Why some of you haven't got over a change that happened even maybe years ago. So I've pulled together, what I did is I interviewed about 1,000 people all around the world in all different industries, cultures, races, genders, age groups. And I looked for what are the common principles in why some people get through life changes, professional change, personal change, financial change, health change, disaster changes, like what makes the difference? So I'll be honest with you, I've never applied the 9 principles to, a country at war or states of war. It's certainly going to be an interesting dynamic and experience for me too to do it. But I do know that having interviewed people who've gone through every type of change, that these principles apply absolutely to every situation. So with that said, I will say, they apply personally as well, even though I'm speaking to you as a group of entrepreneurs, startup business leaders, examples, role models. I also want to speak to you as a whole person, because when you are well, the company is well. So I'm not going to split you guys into, I'm just talking about you as business leaders. I want to talk to you as a whole person. I want to look at your mental state, emotional state, even your spiritual state, if you're open to that, because that is truly what also is impacting your energy and what is impacting the business. So just be open, as I'm going to share the 9 principles in a little bit. Make them really apply to you both personally and professionally. And also think about why this principle really applies to my co-founder or my boss or my, child. So I will say that, as I, said at the beginning, I don't know if everyone heard it, please take notes. I'm going to fire hose 9 principles in like 45, 50 minutes, plus a few other things. So we're going to move super fast, but I know you guys can handle it. Keep your questions to the end for sure. I'm going to start off by asking you some questions. I'm not going to take any shares because we don't have time for that, but please answer the questions, make this be an active experience, not just me speaking to you or speaking at you. Okay, so here we go. We have 9, 10 questions. Very easy. You guys can all handle this. But I want you, this change is a subject that is not taught. We're not, told how to get through change, certainly not, extreme change. So I want you to just take a little bit of a check and a temperature check already on what is your relationship to change in general. Okay. So the first question is very easy. Do you think you are good at change? This is a yes or no question. Intuitively, if someone said, let me pick someone here, Anna, do you think you're good at change? Or Vlad, do you think you're good at change? Yes or no? Okay, just write it down. Number 2, are you better at making or facing changes? Are you better at making or facing changes? Making is, I'm going to do it. I'm going to initiate it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to set the goal. I'm going to follow through. Facing is, this change has happened. I know exactly what to do. I'm in the midst of a crisis. The best of who I am is going to come out of me, right? Which one? Making changes or facing changes? Good awareness for you to know which one you are and to sort of balance it out with the one that, you could be more of. Number 3, what is the best change that you've ever made? Best change you've ever made? Got married, got divorced, started a company, left a job you hated, moved, stopped an addiction, quit smoking, had a child. What's the best change you've ever made? It's important for this change to sort of come out of your blind spot. And you're going to see why, because the more you know yourself as someone that goes through change in a particular way, the more you are going to be able to handle and face any new change that comes your way. You're not sort of innocent blank slate as far as change goes. Most of you are extraordinary already at change and have a very big change toolbox, as you're going to see. Number 4, what is the hardest change you have ever faced? Hardest change you've ever faced. Might be what you're going through now, might be something in the past, losing a loved one, depression. What is the hardest change you've ever faced? Gone bankrupt, lost everything, health diagnosis. And how did you get through it? What's the first thing that comes to mind? How did you get through that hardest change? Or how are you getting through that hardest change? If you're here, you've made it, you got through, how are you or how have you dealt with the hardest changes that life has presented to you? What has it been? Has it been patience? Has it been relying on people? Has it been your faith? Has it been actions? What has it been for you? Next, what is a change you would love to make? What's one of those that it comes up maybe on New Year, speaks at you, and then it kind of goes away like by the middle of April? What is a change you would love to make? Just write it down. Change you'd love to make. And why hasn't it happened yet? What's your dominant excuse as to why changes you really want to have happen haven't happened? If I can ask everyone to go mute, that would be super helpful for me. Thank you. Two more questions. What is the best belief you have about yourself during times of change? Best belief about yourself, about, how you manage. What do you know about yourself no matter what? No one can take away from you. Best belief you have during times of change? And then I want you to give yourself a change quotient for the numbers people, finance people, engineers in the room. Change quotient, scale of 1 to 10. How good are you at change? How good are you at welcoming change in your life? 10 is bring it on, really good at change. I'll handle anything. 1 is totally done, enough change for the rest of my life. Don't want anything else with my name on it. Just give yourself a number. That number will probably change in the next hour. And if it doesn't, it will change over time. But where are you at? Are you a 3? Are you a 7? Just kind of as a baseline. Okay, so I'm going to give you literally 3 minutes on my background, just to give you a little bit of context as to what I do and why I'm speaking to you. So professionally, I've told you a little bit about personal stuff, but professionally, I started off in management consulting. I worked at BCG. I then went to business school. I have an MBA from Stanford. And then I did 10 years in New York City in big media companies before transitioning into venture capital. So I ran a $500 million fund, very young. I was 28, 29 when it happened. At the time, I thought they were completely crazy and I really was the imposter. But, I took up my seat And I was like, if someone put me in this seat, I'm going to take it up, which again, I encourage you guys to do too. So I did venture capital for a few years, and then I had a strong desire to be on the other side of the table. I wanted to be the entrepreneur. I wanted to be the startup. I didn't just want to give checks and bark instructions at burnt out, very tired, courageous entrepreneurs as to what I thought they should be doing. And so I left and I did a few things. I went traveling. And while I was traveling and I'd made this, big life change of getting out of venture capital, which everyone dreams of being, and they didn't understand why I'd left that role. I'd also broken off an engagement. So I myself was in a lot of personal and professional change. And I became fascinated by why it is that some people get through change and make changes and some people don't. So that I kind of fell into doing this research. It was never intentional, but I started collecting all this evidence. And then eventually, very long story short, I got a book deal. So I have a book published by HarperCollins on these 9 principles of change that I'm going to share with you. So you don't need to read the book. And I also was invited to start speaking to companies about this particular topic because most people never speak about the subject of change. What happened, which was very interesting, is while I was traveling and speaking and researching, I realized that everyone I was meeting was in one of 3 categories. And you guys are in all these categories too. You're either going through some type of life change, right? Whether it's a business change, pivoting your business, whether it's moving, whether it's laying people off, whether it's getting married, getting divorced, whether it's whatever it is, but you're in some period of change. Another category is that you're thinking about making a change. So a lot of people think about change and they don't actively get into the change. So you're maybe thinking about moving your headquarters, or you're thinking about downsizing, or you're thinking about fundraising and your runway that's getting shorter, but you're thinking about it. You're not actually in the action side of things. And the third category that I was seeing, everyone I was speaking to, was they were helping someone else with a change. So helping a parent or helping a kid or helping a colleague. And then I sort of saw that every business I was speaking to was either good at, facing changes that the market was handing to them, or they were very good at sort of getting ahead and actually initiating the changes. So I wanted to ask you, your first question as a business is, which one are you? Are you good at facing the changes that the industry and clients and customers are bringing to you? Or are you good at initiating the changes? It's good for you to know which one you are and where your team is at. But the other thing I kept hearing is that everyone across the board said the same things. I hate change, right? I'm not good at change. I feel alone when I'm going through change. I'm the only one going through this. I don't know how to start. I don't have the skills. I don't have the education. I don't have the money. Like it was just this commonality of, what I kept hearing about change. And after a while, I was like, okay, this kind of has to stop. Like there is a way of making change easier. So what I would say right off the bat is getting good at change is the most important skill right now, which is why I'm kicking off this for you as a program. And I'm not sort of at the end. Getting good at change is the most important personal skill, professional skill, parenting skill, relationship skill. So that's why I'd like you to see, the importance of this subject is like, why is she talking to me about change? Because your whole life depends on you getting through changes, the ones you've already been through and the ones that are coming your way. Companies that change will survive. Marriages that change together will survive. Teams that change together will survive. Schools that change and adapt will survive. I can go on and on and on. People that are good at change are being retained right now. The ones that are not are being let go of. So you upping your level of being good at change, leaders that can lead through change are the ones that are going to be the exceptional leaders of this decade. And change is the word of the decade. There's no other word that will define this decade as much as change. The other thing I will say is companies don't change, okay? Companies don't change. People change. So really let that sink in. So a lot of the times I got to change the company and change the brand and change the logo and change the runway and change the fundraising. And that's changing the company. The most important thing you need to take care of is you need to get your people comfortable and good at change, right? It's the reason change management programs do not work. It's systems and structure and computers and who reports to who, and it misses the most important element, which is who are your people? How are they handling change? What emotions are showing up for them? And you're going to see like one of the emotions, one of the change principles is emotions and how to handle them. So change, comes with a whole bunch of excuses. That's the last thing I'm going to cover before jumping into the 9 principles. I'm just going to run through a few. I'm sure I'll hit a few of all of yours. And if I don't, it's probably because they're on the list. I'm too old. I'm too young is one I hear a lot these days. I don't have the time. I don't have the skills. I feel overwhelmed. Someone's going to disapprove. Someone's going to get hurt. It's not my nature. I'm not the sort of guy or woman that does this kind of change. It's not in our culture. It's not what our company does, right? I've heard all the excuses, and those excuses have cost companies billions, right? It's not what the company does yet. It's going to threaten our core business. It's going to upset our customers. It's going to, change our revenue model. It's going to take too long. And I've seen a lot of those companies, fail and mess up because there was an excuse that was in the way. So I really want you to get clear in 30 seconds for yourself. What is the number one excuse right now that is either blocking you or blocking your company? Because that is a ceiling above your growth and your company's growth. And your growth is directly proportionate to your company's growth. What is the dominant excuse for the company? It's too hard. We don't have money. We don't have the people. We don't have the time. We don't have the clients. What is that? Your mind's going to go, but it's a fact. No, guys, it's not a fact. It's an excuse. And I can tell you, a lot of people are saying, oh, I don't have the resources. Please pay attention to what I'm about to say. Resources are never the problem. A lack of resourcefulness is the problem. Okay, resources are never the problem. I've seen magic, miracles, possibilities from resourcefulness, much more so than resources. What are resources I'm talking about? Creativity, asking for help, decisiveness, curiosity, open-mindedness, sharing. Oh my God, what a concept. Most people don't share ideas, talents, angels, what they know, what they have. So resources are not the problem. There's a resourcefulness inside of you that will handle any excuse in the world. Okay, I want you to get really in touch with that. Okay, so we are going to, and the last thing I want to say before I get to the 9 principles is the best things in life have always happened after a change. Okay, most poor change gets a really bad reputation because when people think of change, they usually think of bad changes. The very best things in your life right now have happened because something has changed. So I want to use that as the foundation of us, looking at the 9 principles, because I want you to sort of go, okay, do I want to be a change optimist or do I want to be a change pessimist? And I don't know you, but I could probably, if I had a few minutes with you, because I've got antenna on my head and I can pick it up very quickly, I would be able to tell you if you're a change optimist or a change pessimist. So please, for the next 45 minutes, invite yourself to be a change optimist. Leave the day behind, the week behind, the month behind. You can pick them up after this workshop is done. But give yourself permission to just be a change optimist for the next 45 minutes. Because when you are, you will lead your company and your people from that place. And it is not, positivity, whatever. It is really proven in science and research, which you're going to learn about. Okay, sip of water, everyone. Let's go. I want to see them. Water, beer, wine, coffee, whatever you've got. Okay, so the 9 principles of change. I'm going to go to a different screen because I've been looking at the same people for the last 15 minutes. There you guys are. So the 9 principles of change are very simple. And I say this and warn this because you guys are all incredibly smart people and you're going to be looking for things that are super complicated, you've never heard before, have like evidence of, brilliance. And so some of you are going to go, this is way too obvious, way too simple. I can tell you that the human being usually resists the simple. Many of you are not doing the simple. Many of you are like trying to make things more difficult. So I'm going to simplify this as much as possible so that A, you learn it, and that B, you are able to share it with other people that might be around you or on your team. Think about this first for yourself, and then for other people you can share it with. So the first principle of change, you can write this down. I'm also going to make a commitment to send Tanya, and she can pass this in the Slack message, the 9 principles written out so that you actually have them. You can pass them around, no problem. The first principle of change is your beliefs. People who are good at change have positive beliefs. Okay, that's the first principle of change. It's not groundbreaking, but I'm going to tell you a little bit of research of what I heard. Beliefs about what? In first place, beliefs about themselves. In second place, beliefs about life. Okay, what does that mean? So Einstein said it much better than I ever will. He said the most important decision you will ever make in your life is to decide whether you believe that you live in a friendly world or an unfriendly world. The most important decision, right? Everyone you could put in one of these 2 categories. Friendly world, I'm lucky, good things will happen, good things are coming my way. I will, be happy, successful. I'm choosing to bring that towards me. Other category, I live in an unfriendly world. It's unsafe, it's horrible, bad things happen. I need to protect myself. I'm unlucky, shit happens. What do you think? What do you think you're a magnet for there? Life confirms your belief. Okay, so I need you to sort of go, if the most important decision I need to make is somehow to believe that I live in a friendly world and good things are coming to me, that would be the very first belief. Everyone I interviewed who had gone through, loss of a child, bankruptcies, being incarcerated in jail for things they hadn't done. I mean, I interviewed, amazing realm of people. They all had this belief that something, there was something positive that was, their beliefs were positive. So I would say this, your businesses right now are seasonal and you have beliefs about your business. So right now, some of you will say, I'm in winter, right? Anyone in winter right now? Absolutely. Some of you might say, actually, this is springtime for me. This is like, I'm going to go into, starting to see possibilities, see opportunities. Some of you are in autumn. You're like, I'm going into hibernation. I'm going to plant some seeds and I'm going to get ready for something very long. What season is your business in? Because it will inform the beliefs and the actions that you have around this. But I'd say the most important thing to understand about positive beliefs is you have beliefs about everything. You have beliefs about raising money right now. You have beliefs about talent and retaining talent and finding talent. You have beliefs about men versus women. You have beliefs around age. You have beliefs about yourself. So all of those are basically influencing how you are looking and handling it at change. So I want to ask you just a couple of questions at the end of each principle. And the first thing is, what is your most limiting belief? What is your most limiting belief? It could be that I am fill in the blank, or it could be that life is fill in the blank. What is your most limiting belief? Take a look at it, write it down. I'm not going to judge it. I probably have the exact same one. If you were in an audience, I would say, don't look at your neighbors, even though it's probably the same as yours. But what is your most limiting belief? And I can tell you your most limiting belief is probably a match for something in your life that hasn't happened or you're having a hard time with. Your most limiting belief is not in a place that something is working out in your life. Your limiting belief could be, I'm never going to lose weight, or I'm never going to raise money, or I'm never going to get married. Well, I can assure you with those kind of beliefs, you are absolutely right. That's it. period, fact, no matter. So let's really question the beliefs and go, do I really want to hang on to this belief? Because by hanging on to it, you're basically magnetizing the truth of it. Okay. And then the other question I want to ask you is, what is a belief that you must adopt to get through the next few months, few weeks, few days? What must you adopt? I'm not saying you know how to adopt it, but you intentionally going, I must believe what? Right? Just write that down. What must you believe? I hope all you guys off camera are still with me. You're working super hard. Okay, principle number 2. Principle number 2, and thank you for sharing in the chat. I don't have time to read all of this, but I'm seeing a few things popping on. See, I'm not good at doing business. Right? Okay, so Anne, what must your belief be? Because I'm not good at doing business. It's like you're a tuning fork for I'm not good at doing business, right? It's like you're a magnet. You cannot attract the opposite of what you believe. It is an impossibility. You cannot, right? I'm coaching dozens and dozens of startup founders right now. What they believe about fundraising is the reactions they're getting. Right, I have someone going, they're raising 50 million pounds right now. She honestly believes that's way too much money. That's her energy, her belief. What do you think is happening? Every conversation, people are saying to her, don't you think that's too much money to be raising? It is not because they think that. It is because she thinks that. The minute she changes her internal reference point of going, I should be raising twice as much. It's a biotech, like they need twice as much to do all the trials. At that point, they'll probably go, don't you think you should be raising more money? Okay, so your thoughts and feelings show up in the mouths of others. So that is why your beliefs are so important. Principle number 2 is what I call the change guarantee. The change guarantee. People who are good at change believe this. You know, fits perfectly after this first principle. From this situation, something good will come. If you don't remember anything I've said for the last half hour, this is what you write down. From this situation, something good will come. You don't need to know what will come, but you do need to reorientate your inner GPS, i.e. your mind, to believe that and focus on it. Because your mind is at your service and it will go looking for the gift. It will go looking for how to turn it around. It will go looking for what is good about this. You ask that to your mind, it will answer it for you. You ask your mind, you know, way less empowering questions. Your mind will go, oh, I can answer that one too. Right? So your responsibility is to write that down, put it on your phone. I teach this to kids. I teach this to companies. From this situation, you lose a client. What's good about this? You didn't get the fundraise that you thought. From this situation, something good will come. You will very rapidly find the good and look for the good that is coming. Okay. I've spoken to thousands with horrible changes I wouldn't want on anyone. They all were able to say, you know, I was talking to a family whose child was raped and murdered in a township in South Africa. And there's part of the research for this book. And even them, guys, even them, they were able to say, here's what good came from this. Because I asked it, and it was hard to ask because you're like, I thought people were going to throw a cup of coffee at me and go, nothing. But the people who are getting through change truly believe that something good came from this situation. Okay. It's one to be utterly convicted of. And you please put it up in your teams, share it with people. So questions on this one specifically. In what area of your life do you need to start looking for the good? So where have you really been the change pessimist? Where have you really not seen the gift? Could be something happening now, could be something in the past. What good can come from this? How can I make this be something positive? What we've created here all together, it's like something good will come from this. Like you guys and us, we're all proof that something good is and will continue to come from this. And this is just the beginning, guys. You're in for such a treat for the next 12 weeks. So what's a difficult change, for example, that you have had happen where something good did happen, where you really did see the good that happened, But I want you to train yourself to kind of go, nope, you know, whatever it is that's going on, you know, I've lost my top guy in my company. Something good will happen from it, right? This thing didn't show up, or the deal didn't happen the way I wanted. Something good will happen, and you will install and initiate a different process and momentum. Okay. Principle number 3 is what I call the change muscle term that I made up. So you have a part of you that is very good at change, right? The human being is very good at change. There is a part of your brain here called the lizard brain, right? The sort of oldest part of your brain that's all about fight and flight, and I hate change, and keep me safe and keep me in, you know, a job, a life, and a relationship I hate. But there is a part of you, your entire body is changing every second. So your body is on your side. It actually likes change. It wants change. Your companies have a change muscle. Okay? Your companies have a change muscle. Your companies have gone through dozens of changes already. How strong is your company's change muscle? Like, get excited about thinking about this. Wow, you know, we've gone through 3 pivots. We've gone through 3 brand changes. We've gone through 5, you know, chief technology officers. What have you already been through? You know, in longer workshops, I take companies through what I call their change resume or their change CV, where I go, what are all the changes this company have been through? And it allows people to acknowledge themselves for already how good they are at change, as opposed to, I'm not good at change, I suck at change. No. You and your companies have a change muscle, right? And giving yourself some acknowledgement for, I'm the person that went through this, and this. At the time, you were so busy surviving and just getting through it that you didn't actually sort of acknowledge yourself and going, crikey, I'm really good at change. I've just never owned it. I've kind of gone through it. I graduated, I moved, I saw, you know, my parents get divorced, I, you know, got sick, whatever it is that happened, I lost weight, I got off drugs, I changed jobs 3 times, I graduated, I moved, I invested. It's like your change resumes are full. So my message is to you that when you are going through a change, you do need to activate the part of you that is very good at change. But that comes with a memory of having been through previous changes, because certainly the change you guys are facing right now might be very new change, right? And the mind goes, no tools, no evidence, no data, no research, no education, no idea how to deal with this. That's the mind's belief about that change, right? The body is like, I'm with you, I've got you, we can do this, we've done this before. Might be a new change, but we've definitely gone through change before. So what are 3 things that are in your change toolbox? What do you always go to when you go through times of change? Please write them down. What are they? Do you go to people to help? Do you go to, you know, taking care of your health? What do you go to? What is in your change toolbox? Do you pray? You know, I mean, we'll get to that. There's one of the principles is very much around just believing that, you know, you're going to be supported. Things are going to work out. So what is in your toolbox? Principle number 4 is what I call your change demons. For those who don't speak good English, demons are like little devils, right? They kind of come after you and they just like, they kind of stick to you. So change demons. What are the change demons? These are predictable emotions that show up during times of change. They show up during most experiences of change. So I'm going to make it very easy. I'm going to tell you what they are. You'll be very familiar with some of them. Some of them are running your life all the time. Some of them you're trying to eat away or smoke away or sleep away or work away, whatever it is, because you're not comfortable with what these changes are. But I can tell you they are very normal. And the people that are most successful as far as their emotions are the ones that are most comfortable with feeling their emotions, letting their emotions guide them, being vulnerable, right? So people who successfully navigate change are much more in touch with their emotions. which was again I thought they'd be like all action, do this, do this, do this, do that, right? That was not the research tool, because all change is emotional. If the actions were easy, we'd all be doing them, right? It's like get divorced, actions. Quit smoking, that's a really easy action. That's it. There's one action to quit smoking, right? Losing weight, action, very easy. So the hardest changes are all emotional, right? Which is why this principle is so important, to get in touch with what are the emotions that are actually running my life or ruining my life. Okay, and everyone has, before I tell you what they are, everyone has a dominant change demon. This is your emotion that kind of circles. It's like your cycle. It's like you are a little bit glued to this emotion. Your companies have a change demon, right? Your companies are stuck on one emotion. It's really important for you to know what it is, because when you pull it out of your blind spot, that's when you can do something about it. So I'm going to tell you what they are. I'm going to tell you not for you to invite them all together. So don't invite them to the change party, right? One of them will usually show up. And then what we do as human beings is we invite all their friends. Oh, I feel this, and I'm going to invite all the other emotions too. So don't feed them, don't entertain them, just be aware of them. Okay, so the first one is very obvious. The first one is fear, right? That's the number one change demon people deal with. Change equals fear to people. Fear of the unknown, fear of how things are going to work out, fear of, is anything ever going to get better? Fear if, am I going to run out of money? Fear, am I going to stay alive? Fear is, am I going to get better if I'm sick, for example? So every one of these has an antidote, right? The antidote to fear from 10 years of research is faith. It's not faith only in the religious sense. It can be faith in your people, faith in your company, faith in your culture, faith in your talent, faith in your friends, faith in your consumers, faith in loyalty, faith in God, faith in anything, faith in yourself, faith in your body, faith in your energy, faith in your brain or mind coming up with things, faith in your intuition. But you have to transition to a place of faith. Okay, that's number one. The second change demon is blame. When you go through times of change, the mind immediately wants to go, who's to blame? Someone fucked up, who's to blame? Something went wrong, who's to blame? Some of you give all your blame energy to yourself, right? Also not good. But I want you to get that blame never achieves anything. And especially in a place that we're living right now, some of us are very much into the blame is on the outside. The antidote to blame is always self-responsibility. Not for what's happening, but how to be and how to react. Okay. So instead of me blaming something or someone has done something, I go, okay, how can I be more responsible in my actions or my communications or my boundaries or me saying no, because that shouldn't be happening. But blame never achieves anything. If you guys are in blame, please, please circle it and make a commitment and go, that is a giant waste of your energy. And you need to really be protecting your energy right now. The third change demon is doubt. Doubt in the future, doubt if you're going to compete, doubt if you're going to find someone to help, doubt in, whatever aspect it is, how it's ever going to be or change or when this is all going to end. Doubt, again, can ruin things. The antidote to doubt is to surrender. What do I mean by surrender? I mean, don't put a plan on it. Don't have answers to it. Don't spin it. I surrender to the fact that I do not know. I do not know how this is going to turn out. And there's a lot of relief that comes in that. And as smart, intelligent people, it is not easy to say, I don't know. But in this circumstances, saying I don't know actually invites a lot of answers and possibilities. The I know or I need to know actually shuts you down from what's possible. So the other three very quickly. One is guilt. So you feel guilty about what's happening, guilty that you haven't been able to pay people, guilty that, you haven't lost the weight, guilty that you're not home with your kids, guilt. The antidote to guilt is forgiveness. You got to forgive yourself and just go, I'm doing the best I can. Okay. Another one is impatience, big change demon. Right? Time. We want to speed up time. We want to catch the next trapeze. We don't want to be in sort of the I don't know what's happening stage. The antidote to impatience is not patience. It is endurance. Endurance is, I'm in it for the long run. I'm going to stay in the mess. I'm going to stay in the fire. It's a marathon. I'm going. I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting my body. I'm going to surprise myself. And the last one is surprisingly shame. I'm ashamed that I'm not as good as I thought I was. I'm ashamed that I haven't been able to pull this off. I'm ashamed that, I've let my investors down. I'm ashamed that I'm still single. I'm ashamed that I'm fat. I'm ashamed, whatever. The antidote to shame is honor. I honor the fact that this is who I am right now. I honor the fact that I have this going on. I honor the fact that I'm, single and waiting for my beloved. I honor the fact that, we are a 3-person company, even though I thought we'd be 30 by now. Honor. Okay. So what real quick, what is the emotion that is running your life and your business right now? It's probably very similar. What is it? Is it fear? Is it blame? Is it doubt? Guilt? Shame? Impatience? Which one is it? Good for you to get a hold of this, and good for you to commit to what it needs to be and become. Just move yourself in that direction. It's like a GPS. You set yourself a course and you will head in that direction. And I want you to remember, with any situation and any emotion, I want you to remember the 3 Ps. It is not personal to you. Emotions just are impersonal. They go through human beings. Emotion, right? They are not permanent. You do not stay in these emotions for the rest of your life. It might feel like it right now, this hour, this month, this year, but they are not personal and they are not pervasive. Pervasive means they take over your whole life, right? There's an issue at work, and then you stack, life, and then your health, and then your family, and then your finances. That's called stacking. You have to stop the stacking. Just go with the one that was in first place. It showed up, it knocked, right? But remember the 3 Ps. It's not personal. I promise you, everyone on this call is human and feeling the same things. It is not permanent, and it is not pervasive. If you don't remember anything, write the 3 Ps down. Principle number 5, I'm speeding, but you guys are doing great. I can see you're all with me. Principle number 5 is the principle of acceptance. Simple one. People who are good at change accept change. Resistance to change is what creates the pain. It is not the change itself. Resistance to change. This is not happening. I don't want it to happen. I want my life back. I want my stock portfolio back. I want my company back. I want my relationship back. I want my life back. I want my home back. That is rowing upstream. Very tiring and exhausting. I'm letting go of the oars. I'm accepting this is happening. Brings such relief. Everyone I talked to, there was a point where they remembered. I remember when I accepted it. That is your relief point that you are looking for. Okay. There's a wonderful quote I want to share by a woman in the US called Byron Katie. When you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. When you argue with reality, you lose, but only 100% of the time. All of us are arguing with reality right now. Reality of the economy, reality of the war, reality of our team, reality of our spouses, reality of our teenagers, reality of the weather, reality of, Corona. We're all arguing with reality. Please stop the arguing with reality and just go, it is reality. I'm going to conserve my energy and accept it. Acceptance is the way forward. So my question to you is, what are you saying no to? What are you not accepting? Which part of what are you still arguing with reality? Because this is the change that is going to be the hardest for you, right? So what do you need to stop resisting? Or who do you need to stop resisting? Because both the situation and the person have power over you. And you don't want to give them that power. You have the power, right? So the acceptance of a situation is the relief point. That you have 2 ways of being with everything that happens in your life. You can be in a reactive state or you can be in a beautiful state. You can react in everything that happens. You can be in a reactive state, right? I'm going to react to it. And a lot of us have a lot of reactions, or you can stay in a beautiful state. And as leaders, entrepreneurs, people who are role models, inspiring people, you need to go, if I could stay in a beautiful state right now, how do I need to be? How do I need to choose to show up? How would I talk? Would I talk or would I listen? Do I have to be right, or can I make someone else right for once? So reactive state, beautiful state. Beautiful state doesn't mean la la and everything's great in the world. Beautiful state is I am fully empowered and in control of my reactions and my emotions. And I promise you the world needs a lot more of those people, because they will be the leaders that change things, not the super reactive state people. Okay. So who and what do you need to start resisting? I hope you've got that one. Principle number 6 is the principle of control. People who successfully navigate change are very clear on what they can and cannot control. So people who are not good at change go after all the things they cannot control. First place, other people. You cannot control other people, right? The only thing you can control is your mindset, your psychology, your actions. And yet so much of our energy goes to controlling the external. So if you really want whatever change you're going through to feel and look different, I want you to look at a few things. One is, what are the questions you're asking yourself about this change, right? So most people are asking questions like, why does this shit always happen to me? Why am I so unlucky? Why is this so hard? Why do people not work, as hard as I do? Why is it so hard to find money? Why did this not work out? It was supposed to, right? So the quality of your questions is going to be the quality of your life. So people who are good at change and companies that are good at change have a very different set of primary questions. Some of their questions are this. One we heard before, how can this be a good thing? Companies that are good at change ask that all the time. Who can help? Great question to ask. What can I learn here from a competitor, from a loss, from a failure? How can I use this to make a difference? How can I even find some humor in this, right? And it's not to make light of it. It's just that humor sometimes brings some of the best solutions, out of us. So changing the types of questions that you ask yourself personally as a leader and as a company is usually one of the places you can control what shows up. Another one is to change your language. There's a whole area of work called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, where the language you use is programming your brain all the time. Linguistic neuro programming. So when you use words like disaster, worst day ever, worst month ever, nightmare, you literally are energizing those things into yourself, your life, and your company. So and you can tell immediately, right? You have antenna on your head. You can hear these words coming out of people. Make a commitment and go, you know what? We are going to step up our language, and there are going to be words that we do not use to describe our situation and what is going on. And watch how quickly you are able to sort of realign and attract something that's a lot better. And the last one I would say is the stories that you tell yourself. So every one of you is a walking library of stories. Your companies have a lot of stories. The worst part of stories is that we become addicted to our stories. I'm the girl that, does yoga and drinks green juice, right? So that's my story and I defend that, right? Does it mean that I'm different to you, or I don't go to the gym, or I don't drink coffee? No, it doesn't. But it means that I sort of defend the story. A lot of you have stories about your company. Our company does this, it doesn't do that. Our company hires these kind of people. It doesn't do that. Our company serves B2C customers. It doesn't do B2B, right? And these stories keep you confined. You think you're being loyal to your company, but you're actually being very resistant to change and what might want to come through. So I want you to go, What stories have we created at our company? I'm this and not that, right? I'm a green juice person, not a coffee person. Like, what's the equivalent in your companies? We do this, we don't do that. Because right now, opening the library of everything and anything that is possible for your companies, you know, our headquarters are in Ukraine, they're not in Berlin, right? That's sort of the story that we have. Or, you know, we serve our customers in this way, we don't serve them that way. Or we charge a subscription, we don't charge a yearly. What needs to change in terms of the loyalty and the stories that you've created for yourself in the company, right? Just search there. Principle number 7 is your spiritual side. People who are good at change are in touch with their spiritual side. Now, at this point, sometimes when I do this, I can lose part of the audience and people kind of go, oh, she's getting a little woo-woo and weird. So I don't want you to be scared of the word. I'm just saying that is how people described it in every language, culture, religion, you name it, that I met. What it points to is to go beyond your ego, beyond your self-identity, beyond your concern, beyond the world the way you know it and understand it, and to open up to something that's a bit bigger, and to not only understand the reasons through your mind. Okay, it is not about people in the sky with certain names. It is about consciousness. It's about being in an environment of energy where in some ways we are all connected. And if I was better at neurophysics or whatever it's called, I could prove to you that consciousness exists and that every single thing impacts other people. That is the spiritual side I'm pointing to. Okay. People I interviewed had very different names for it. Yes, some of them said God. A lot of them said nature, some said life, some said the universe, some said consciousness, some said universal love, some said Jesus, Allah, Muhammad, Buddha. It didn't really matter, but I kept hearing that there was some level of container, that there was this thing called life that, you know, was part of what was going on for them. How did they connect with this? Very different ways. A lot of them was through silence, right? It was through kind of pausing. It was through getting away from living above the neck and living internally. Your inner world is actually quite calm. You just don't know it. This external world is really loud. It's really busy. So you have to find time to go back inside, to connect inwards. The very best answers, every answer you are looking for is on the inside. It is not outside. And that is, you know, I'm not asking you to pray, although prayer is completely fine. I respect it completely. But I want you during times of change, extreme times of change, to find and get in touch with the part of you that does not change. Because everything can change. Your relationships can change, your health can change, your businesses can change, your finances can change. There is a part of you that does not change. It witnesses, it watches, it knows, it is with you. It was with you at the beginning, it will be with you at the end. However, and whatever you need to do to connect and find that place is a huge superpower, right? So some people did it through being in nature. Some people did it through running or yoga or journaling or sitting in a bath or lighting a candle or going to church or, you know, doing charity work. But they got away from their own ego and their own like me part. Okay. So anything. So I would say, you know, what is your way currently, if you do it, to connect to your spiritual side, to connect on the inside, as I would call it, to connect to something greater, to connect to your intuition, to connect to an energy or a force that has been beating your hearts for the last hour without one of us thinking about it, that has been helping you breathe without one of us consciously going, oops, I forgot to breathe, right? What is that energy and how connected are you? Because that will pull you through absolutely anything, okay? So that's the spiritual side. We've got 2 more. Principle number 8 is your team, your change support team. People who successfully navigate change know that they are not alone. They have a change support team around them, which is crucial. The worst thing we do as human beings is to think we're alone. I'm the only one going through this. I'm the only one who's eaten, junk food and ice cream for the last 2 days. I'm the only one crying on the couch. I'm the only one that wakes up at 4 a.m. full of anxiety and just not wanting the day to start, right? Familiar. I'm talking about myself here, okay? Not you guys. No, you guys are different. But the worst thing we do is go into, I can't reach out. I'm ashamed. I don't want to be that vulnerable. I don't want to feel exposed. So life always brings you people that can help. Always. I'm sure a lot of you, when I asked you at the beginning, what's in your change toolbox? You probably were like, my friend, my person, this person I always call. People are your resource. So always say to yourself, who's on your change support team? I really hope that this becomes a bit of a change support team. I'm going to be in as much of these sessions as I can, Wednesdays going forward. You guys are there for each other. There is so much resource in this group, guys. You have no idea. And I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about all of you. Between all of you, you can solve everything. That's a belief. And I would buy stocks in all of you if I could, because you as a group are incredibly, empowering and just full of power. So who are the people that you are spending time with? Are they change optimists? Are they change pessimists? Are you spending time with anyone? And I'm not even saying, physically, you can spend time virtually, but there's research that shows that, you are the combination of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. If they're entrepreneurial, you will be. If they're healthy, you will be. If they smoke, you will smoke. If they, are unhealthy and they work all the time, you will be too. If they are single, you probably will be too. You are the combination of the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with. So I'm not saying chuck your friends and do whatever, but be a bit more conscious about the people that you are letting influence in your life, especially during times of change. When I go through a change, I do not call my mother, okay? Because I know that it's going to be more fear and problems and disaster and mindset. It's just that's I call her for many other things, but not when I go through change. Right? I have my people. I have a few friends that are my immediate change support team. Who are those people for you? You need, if you want to speed up change, I always get asked this in big conferences. If I want to speed up the change process, what do I do? I'm going to give it to you really quickly. Ask for help. That's it. Someone knows how to help you. Someone has done this before. Someone has a person, someone has an idea, someone has a resource. Someone. Ask for help is the biggest way and the quickest way to get through change and get into a supportive environment. Easiest way. Another question I always get asked, comes to mind real quick, is, what is the best way to feel better about a change? Right? I get those 2 all the time. So I'm just going to handle them really quickly. You know the answer to that one? Do something for someone else. Change is like me, and my body and my suffering and my family and my kids and my work and my money and my hair and my age and my whatever. But it's this me, self-obsession. That will spiral you into the basement very quickly. The quickest way to feel better is to do something for someone else. It pulls you out of yourself. You're able to give back. You're able to be of service. You're able to contribute. You remember that you are always connected to other people, and watch how it circles back. Watch how you've been elevated yourself, even though you haven't changed anything about your change. But those are sort of the 2 things. So, stop trying to do it all alone. That's the biggest thing. Principle number 9. Final one. You guys are here with me. All 77 of you. I don't think I've seen anyone drop off. How amazing. Thank you, Wi-Fi. Thank you, Wi-Fi gods up there. Principle number 9 is the principle of action. Action, action, action. The men on the call are going, finally, she's talking about action, right? The women are like, oh, it's so nice. I've learned about emotions and about this. And I get it. I've believe me, I've spoken to whole groups of women and whole groups of men. There's a reason action is at the end, because what we've been doing here is building a foundation. If your foundation of beliefs is shit, And, you know, based on the past, you will not be able to take very resourceful action. If you have not handled the fear, any decision or action from a place of fear is the wrong decision. I'm going to say that again. Any decision or action from a place of fear is usually the wrong decision. So you need to clear these things before you are actually able to take action. Okay? So people who are good at change take action. Simple as that. So change, here's what was interesting in this principle. I learned things that I was not expecting. The most important action to take care of is to take care of your health. When you go through times of change, health is the first thing that goes out the window. Even good change, even happy changes, health goes out the window. You drink more, coffee, alcohol, whatever it is, usually sleep less or you sleep more. You're probably not moving, not working out, fitness, whatever. You're eating badly. So the first thing to do, the first action of real experts at change is to maintain a level of health. So very quick acronym for you to learn, SEED, S-E-E-D, the seed of change, the seed of placing things in the ground that are going to grow and bring fruition to your companies, to your people, to your kids. S is for sleep. This is really easy. Kids know this immediately. S is for sleep. E is for eating well. E is for exercise, any form. Squats, push-ups, burpees, yoga, stretching, hanging from the roof. I don't care what it is. But why is exercise so important? Because change is emotional. We've talked about that. Have you ever looked at the word emotion? Emotion, energy in motion. You want to move these emotions through you, you need to move. Have you ever noticed that you're a lot more fearful, angry, sad when you're just sitting or being? When you move, the emotion moves through and out of the body. That is why exercise is so important. It's not a weight loss thing. It's actually to move the energy through the body. And D is for drinking. Water is the preference, but anything that's healthy. But you have to stay hydrated. I have been paid a lot of money just to rehydrate people who are chronically dehydrated. Okay, so sleep, eating well, exercise, drinking water. How are you doing on all those four? Which one for you has a big circle? Is it the whole thing that has a circle? But when people are in overwhelm, which you have every right to be, you start with that. You start with that. You literally start with, I'm going to down 2 liters of water every day, because I hear there's a lot of external stress in the world right now, but there's a lot of internal stress that you do not need to put your bodies under. Again, that is something you control. When your body is dehydrated, it will go into stress mode. When your body is not getting the oxygen because you're collapsed, you're not breathing, you think that stress is external. The stress is internal. Your stress, the body is like I need to breathe. Oh my God, give me oxygen. Oh my God, I'm compressed. And she hasn't taken a deep breath in like 3 hours. So your stress is sometimes self-generated. You try and have a healthy, no stress body without oxygen, without water, good luck. Those two are really, really simple, guys. So how are you doing on those? When's the last time you had a proper, like full-on drink of water? What are you putting into your body? Believe me, there's enough external stress, but some of that inner stress you do get to control. So the other thing I would say that I learned from the action principle is that people who are good at change take small actions. They don't do these kind of giant, I'm going to blow up everything and change everything. Tiny habits, small changes, what I call the woodpecker. You pick a tree and you peck at it. There are times for big changes, but the small changes create the big results, okay? The tiny habits were what was most effective. So starting with water, starting with reminding yourself every hour to breathe. Those are the small changes I'm talking about. The other research that I heard loud and clear is that change is very often about scheduling. It is not about willpower. Every single one of you has huge willpower. You wouldn't be on the call. You wouldn't be doing the work you're doing. You wouldn't be leading teams and doing, incredible things in the world. It is never a willpower thing. What gets scheduled gets done. Okay? What gets scheduled gets done. What are you not scheduling time for? So ask yourself, what am I not scheduling time for? Very important. What gets scheduled gets done. I scheduled time to meditate, not because I'm, connecting with angels, but because when I meditate is when I hear my intuition about a deal, about someone I'm thinking about working with, about a stock, about an angel investment. I do not hear it very well from my mind. My mind will convince me it has all the answers. But when I stop the mind and I close my eyes, one of the easiest and quickest ways to actually shut the mind off is just to close your eyes. Hand on your heart, hand on your gut if you want. And then you check in. How does this feel? Does this feel like the right decision? That's when you get into your body. And I can tell you, intuition or gut feel is one of the highest forms of intelligence. Forbes wrote an article about it in 2017. Intuition is one of the highest forms of intelligence. How are you making space and time to hear it? Some people think it might come from consciousness, a higher source, the universe, whatever you want to call it. But please, you guys need to get very, very in touch with your intuition. If it's at a 2 volume, I need you to turn it up to an 8. The worst business decisions are not from the mind. They're from not listening to your intuition. Okay? I've seen it for decades. The worst. People you hire, your intuition is like, man, not too sure. Your mind is like, they worked at Google, they have an MBA, they're available, they're great, we need them. It's not going to work out. I promise you it's not going to work out. I've seen this with so many people. I helped so many startups fire people that they know their intuition told them was not going to work out. So please don't waste time. Please don't waste the talent. Please don't waste your energy. But the biggest action you can take is listening to your intuition, right? It is not listening to other people's perception of the world, even though they can help you, but is truly kind of going, does this feel like a yes for me? So really ask yourself, how good am I listening to my intuition? Do I make time for it? I coach all my businesses and I said, before any decision, I need everyone in the room to tell me how this feels to them. Not what they think, not is it smart, not is it the right decision, how does this feel? And people say, it doesn't feel right. And the other person said, actually, you know what, it doesn't feel right to me too. So data's great, mental's great, education's great, skills is great, experience is great, intuition also great. Best actions during times of change is your intuition. You will not be led wrong if you listen to it. Okay, so I'm super late, but thank you guys for staying with me as long as you have. As I said, I'm going to send you the 9 principles so you have them just written down. Feel free to share them. You don't need to, check in with me at all. Please consider myself, and everyone else on this team as being on your change support team, because we will be, and we want to be committed. And this is just a small way that we can help. As I said, Joseph McClendon is next week. He's terrific. I will definitely be on there. I've flown around the world to listen to this man. He has an incredible personal story, which I hope he will share as well. And he will probably get you moving and up and dancing. And he's one of the funniest top performance coaches I know. He's coached athletes. He's coached actors in Hollywood. So set that down. Tell people to join, even if it's just for this particular call. If any of you have any urgent questions, I'm very happy to take them, or you can also email me. I'm very happy to sort of answer bit by bit. I hope this has been helpful. You guys have been amazing. I feel connected to you guys, even though I'm just staring at like little tiny faces on screens here. But thank you. Big, much, much appreciated. I'm seeing 64 messages, so I haven't read any of them, but I will. But any questions, anything top of mind? I don't need thanks. I appreciate you being here and still being here. That's good enough for me. But any questions? Yeah.
Can I have a question?
We wanted to make a quick announcement about the Slack. First of all, thank you, Ariane. That was
Very, very insightful. We wanted to make a quick announcement about the Slack channel. I will attach the link right now, invitation to the chat, and we will send them also by email later on. And didn't want to interrupt. You can go back to your question now.
Yeah, can I have a question?
Please go ahead, Konstantin. I think that's you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So the question is how to understand if some fact about myself, for example, is just a type of personality or something I should only accept, or it is my limiting belief and I should strive to change it. How to differentiate it?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when I was talking about the principle of acceptance, I'm talking about accepting life circumstances, accepting reality, accepting people in your life, accepting limitations. I'm not talking about putting a ceiling on your personal growth, your performance, who you can be, who you can become. I'm really looking at, accepting. So here's the one thing I will say as a caveat to that. You must accept your humanity, right? Enough with trying to be perfect, enough with not making mistakes, enough with having everything go perfectly and beautifully and right and being the best. Especially if you guys are high performance, which you are, there's not a lot of tolerance for our humanity. So the acceptance I want you to have, Konstantin, is I'm human, I messed up. I'm human, I made a bad decision. I'm human, I was reactive. I'm human, I didn't get it right. I'm human, I missed a typo in an important email. I'm human, I sent a contract and I shouldn't have done it. That you need to accept. You need to accept your humanity. And from that, you need to go, what in me made me do that? What in me didn't take something else on? What in me didn't listen to my intuition? What in me didn't take a break? Right? And that's where you learn from your humanity. Is that helpful?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. And it's so important, like giving people permission nowadays to be human. People are craving that. Enough with the perfection, right? It's sort of, it's a standard that doesn't actually bring the best out of people. You allow people to bring their whole self to work, right? And one of the speakers, Mike Robbins, who's a friend of mine, he wrote a lot of books on this, allowing people to bring their whole self to work. It transforms teams. What's going on with their kids? What's going on with their marriages? What's going on with their parents? It's allowing the humanity to be there. You can't just kind of go, that's over here, and we're business people over here, because everything that's happening in their lives is affecting their productivity. So humanity is a big one. Thank you for allowing me to bring that up. Who else?
If I may.
Yes, please. Olena.
Yeah. When there was a question on the scale, how good you are at change, I put that 10, and it was interesting to see that the most of the topic is about how to bring yourself to be comfortable with change. Yep. And there are probably fewer people, but anyways, people who actually feel normal only during change. And that's myself. And maybe because of some childhood or whatever. And how to, let's say, feel comfortable when something is not changing for a long time. And you feel like you need this change, and maybe you just understand that there is no reason to change something. Everything is fine, but you're like kind of starting depressing that nothing is changing.
Oh, I so relate to you. You're like my, Ukrainian sister. Like I grew up in 6 countries, 8 schools, lots of different food, culture, religions, languages, and then when I worked for BCG, they sent me to 12 countries. And now I'm married for 11 years. Oh my God, to the same man. Right. And I've been living in we have lived in a few different places, but I do get this kind of something needs to change. That's what life is about. Right. So I really hear what you're saying, But I always look at where's the source of that. Is it unhappiness? Is it boredom? Is it not being fully present where I'm currently living or with the person I'm currently married to, right? Is it my mind that wants to escape? So I've had to get comfortable with normalcy. I've had to get comfortable with boredom. I've had to get comfortable with routine. I've had to get comfortable with those things because the other stuff can also turn into a drug, right? It's a little dopamine hit, ting, 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 ting. But there is something really magical too about the commitment to something, you know, not changing. And believe me, you know, marriages change, kids change, companies change. So even if you can be in the same external environment, the way that I have dealt with it, Oleana, is to know that my inner world is very changing all the time. My emotions are changing. My connection to spirit is changing. What I see about myself is changing. My moods are changing. Like that's where I know, like I'm definitely not the same today as I was this morning as I was yesterday. So what's on the inside is way more interesting than what's on the outside.
Okay, great.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I feel a little bit like that as well. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Drink your water, guys. Seed, D, water. Who else? Take the mic. Take the mic.
One more. I have a question. If you
I don't know where you are, but you're on my screen somewhere. Go. Please speak up. Take the mic. Oops, did we lose him? Okay, maybe he'll come back.
wait,
There you are. Can you repeat the question? Because we didn't hear you. Or type the question if it's easier. Are there any questions titled? No. So link to Slack, guys, is in the Zoom. And yes, there will be a recording of this. Wonderful. Yep. Is it Tatiana? You're going to get very different mentors. You're going to have, you know, very different coaches. You're going to have people who have experience. You know, just so you know, my husband is going to be speaking to you. So he is one of the people coming down the road. I think in maybe 4 or 6 weeks. He works at a startup himself, but he's also an expert in the lean startup methodology. He's taught it at Oxford. He's taught it all around the world. He's created incubators for startups to really build companies with limited resources, limited, you know, time, limited people, limited funding, whatever it is. There are people who, you know, have spoken at Draper Fisher's conference, which they have some of the best entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley. There are people who've spoken at the Richard Branson initiatives. So you guys are in for a phenomenal treat. I want to attend, not because I love all of you, but because I actually learn from every time I listen to these people. So I will be on as many as I can in the next 12 weeks. I think one of those Wednesdays is my birthday, so I might not be there with that, but I'll listen to the recording for sure. Okay, guys, I'll take one more question and then let's wrap it up. I know you guys are all busy and have amazing lives to go back to, and please take this on for yourself. Read the notes if you would like to. Pick a principle, pick one and just go, you know what, this one really is kind of shouting at me. This one has my name on it. It's like, which one is that? Let me just see what this says. Ariane, if you have luck of time for change, that would you recommend to invest most into a good plan for change or in your team's emotions? Andrew, I don't know if that's who I wasn't hearing, but can you take the mic and just share a little bit more? I don't know if he's around. So let me try and address it. So I think the question is about, you know, how do you help your team with the emotions they're going through? So in any form of therapy or psychology, naming the emotion is very important. Okay, so actually naming it and saying, this is the emotion that I'm in, it already takes some of the power. The other thing that's very important in psychology is to sort of kind of place where it is in the body. It's in my throat, okay? And again, you remove the power from it. It doesn't, like, now you're getting to actually know it, as opposed to, you know, I'm in anxiety. Well, where is the anxiety, right? Then what I do with people is I go, okay, if the anxiety could speak, what would it say? And finally, the anxiety gets the microphone, because the anxiety is going to get louder and louder and louder, as you've probably noticed, and it will wake you up at night, because now it has your full attention, because it doesn't have your attention during the day. So the sooner you give it the microphone and you go, okay, the anxiety could speak, what would it say? And then you get it out, right? Emotions are like children that just have tantrums. If you ignore them, the tantrums get bigger. If you welcome them and go, okay, anxiety, welcome, go for it. I'm going to put you in a chair and I'm going to listen to what you have to say. Doesn't mean you're going to agree with it, but you need to name it. You need to find it where it is in the body, because a lot of these emotions are stuck in the body. And then you need to give it the microphone. If the anxiety could speak, what would it say? And there is a part of you that is not the anxiety. You know that. That part of you is the part that needs to become stronger. So that part of you is going to listen to what the anxiety has to say, and it will not be defeated by the anxiety, because anxiety starts with a little knock. And then you're like, I'm going to eat, I'm going to smoke, I'm going to work till midnight, I'm going to take a sleeping pill. What happens the next day? Still haven't addressed the anxiety. And then you're like, I'm going to work harder, I'm going to listen to music, I'm going to go for a 10-kilometer run. What happens the next day? Right? So anxiety ratchets it. The sooner you listen to it, the sooner you diffuse it. So when you're dealing with your teams, I would say very much so. So, you know, whether it's one-on-one or in a team environment, you will notice that everyone is often feeling the same types of emotions, which again normalizes it. Are you kidding me? I've gotten up many times at 4:30 in the morning. I'm as human as anyone else. I have tools to deal with it. I will sit up in my bed. I will not try and sleep it off. And I go, okay, let's have a chat. And I will get my spinal column straight, right? Just a little bit more in a meditation pose. And I will go, okay, what is this about? What's the gift here? What's the dialogue? What's the lesson? But I will not ignore it and try and sleep it off, because I can never sleep it off. Because now this kid emotion in my body has woken me up for a reason, and I have to give it some attention. So it's very opposite. Most people are like, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it, which a lot of us have done. It doesn't really help. You know, ignoring it sometimes makes us sick. The body goes, crikey, she or he is really not listening. Maybe if I break her down, they'll start listening. Maybe if I get her sick, maybe if I get her staying in bed, maybe if I get her really sick. I have founders right now, very young, early 30s with breast cancer, right? It's like they were not listening. That is like an extreme way of the body to try and get your attention. You don't need to let it go that way. It's already getting your attention. Work out, get some fresh air, stop drinking so much coffee or alcohol. You're just not listening. So some of this anxiety is really, really positive. It has messages for you, right? It's not all bad. So it's like, what's here? What's here for me? Okay, I can hear that I haven't taken care of this, or I'm ignoring my finances, or I'm whatever it is, it has messages for you. So anxiety is something to embrace. It is not something to run away from or hope that it doesn't show up for a while. Let's see, I'm kind of just checking in on the chat.
Yeah, hey, can I ask a question, please?
Yes, go ahead, Ivan. Hi.
It's me. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your speech. It was really amazing, very useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm more like a routine guy, like more about consistency, doing the same things every day to get the, that condition when you feel yourself disciplined. But I got your point, and I totally agree that you have to be flexible due to specific context. Totally agree. So, for me, I'm really curious about how you start your daily routine. I mean, how do you start your day usually? Like, what is your morning routine? So interesting to know, from you as a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. just because we're family, and I'll open up my whole self to you. So I set some intentions before getting out of bed. What do I mean by that? I do not let my feet hit the floor in a bad mood, in an anxious place, in a like, I'm not looking forward to this day, or whatever it is. Or, you know, my dog woke me up at 4 a.m. So before I put my feet on the ground, I set intentions. What do I mean by intentions? Intentions are energetic statements that I would like to bring into reality. If you're not doing that, you're missing out on what could be bringing into your reality. So for example, I set the intention to completely be of service today, to help my fellow human beings, to help my clients, to do it in any possible way that I can, right? That would be a strong intention. I set the intention to be completely present with my husband and my child. 100%, no distractions, right? I set an intention. I set an intention. This is another one I would do often. I set an intention to let go of any self-blame, self-criticism, self-punishment, self-pushing energy, self-bullying, self-meanness, self-hurt, self-anything, because I used to have a lot of that in me. So I set the intention to just let that go and just go, I want to be someone that doesn't have that going on all the time. So I set an intention. So first thing I do before I get out of bed, I sometimes visualize some things. So I visualized this group. I visualized, you know, this wonderful community and bubble. I feel like I'm with all you guys. So I visualize how I want things to happen. I want this to be fun. I want us to have fun, right? Even though the situation is not fun, I choose an environment that I want to create because I have an impact on it. And if I haven't chosen that, I don't know who's going to choose it, right? So I'm a lot more conscious about choosing it. You know, then I do practical things. I walk the dog. I get my son ready for school. I do all of that. But in terms of my own preparation post being practical, I always write in a journal, right? So I have lots of them, different journals, and I clean my mind. So I have a shower, so I clean myself, but then I clean my mind, which by the way, we never do. And the mind is way more dirty than your body. So I just kind of put it out. I hate this. This is horrible. I didn't appreciate that. I'm not enjoying this. I don't want to do that. Or I love this, or I'm so grateful. And my God, I can go for a 10K run and everything's like, whatever it is. But I clean my mind, because if I don't do it, it's going to bother me all day. I'm really annoyed I didn't get out of the stock market at this. And I'm really upset I didn't buy Bitcoin at 5,000. It's like whatever needs to come out. But I let the mind empty itself out, because now I have a fully available mind for the day I'm actually going to have. Okay, so that's one thing. I always go. I have lots and lots of my own notebooks. Then I usually take some fresh air. So I will, you know, go for a half-an-hour run, or I'll stretch, or I have a little trampoline that I rebound on just to move some energy. If you've noticed, you might have slept well during the night, but your mental and emotional energy is pretty high in the morning too. So I have a routine of just sort of moving that through. I'm very good with my health, so I don't eat badly in the morning, you know, so I'm going to be conscious about how I'm going to help my body. And that's pretty much it, you know. So I would say intentions, non-negotiable, non-negotiable. I set an intention before doing this call. I set an intention before any meeting. I set an intention before I meet a new client. I don't set an intention to win the deal. I don't set an intention to win the client. I set an intention that whatever happens, may it be for my highest growth, for the highest growth of the company, may it be what absolutely needs to happen in all of our best interests, because I don't know if it's a good thing. My mind is like, I have to. No. So I release the outcome, right? But I would never approach an important meeting without actually setting an intention of how I want it to go. And most of the intentions I set are to get out of my own ego and my own self, and to be connected and be in service to other people. Because the best things happen from them. People trust you, people like you, people want to work with you, people want to fund you, people want to give you money, people want to, it's like, they feel it. It's not like a me and a take, and it's like, wow, right? The best thing you have to offer, Yvonne, is your energy. It's the best thing you have to offer. It's why people will fall in love with you, work with you, fund you, you know, hire you, buy something from you, the quality of your energy. So everything is about that, guys. And, you know, you can be in confinement and have really good quality energy. And so much of it has been about what we've been speaking about. All of this is about raising the quality of your energy that you get to give back to. And I promise you, I'm so happy you guys are asking me these questions, because the world needs so much of a different quality of energy to come through. It needs brands and startups and, you know, climate change and, you know, good impact companies, which I'm hoping some of you are working on. But it really needs a change in energy. That's what the world is waiting for. It needs a change of energy. You can call it a change of consciousness. But your biggest gift is the quality of your energy. That's it. To your kids, to your parents, to your team, to everything. So always check in and go, what am I doing for my energy? That's a daily question for me. I ask myself good questions, you know, and I'm very human, and I also have all of that stuff, but I will often say, okay, what good will come from this? That really is a go-to question for me. And I see it, and I'm eventually shown what it is. Okay, guys, I'm going to go feed my son, stretch, take some fresh air. I hope you guys can do the same. Keep in touch. Please copy the Slack message that we've gotten. And hold on, what am I seeing here? No, I don't want to do that. No. That's interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for answering. Thank you, because I just disconnected for a second. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. I'm going to have a little look at all your messages. But you guys have been great. Thanks for the smiles. Thanks for the energy that you've put through to me, because usually I can feel it because I'm around real people, but I have been able to feel it through the screen. So thank you guys for that. But big hugs, you know, have a great week. Trust yourselves, go inside, connect with each other. You'll see me again in a week. Show up for Joseph. He's a big gift for all of us. And any questions, ask Tanya and her amazing team. Anything practical you need, they've been absolutely amazing. I couldn't have done it without them.
Thank you. Have a good